Welcome back. In this video, we will go over the muscles of the lower extremity. First, I'll place the model on the table, we'll go over the muscles, and then we will repeat the muscles in that view. Before we start with the muscles of the lower extremity, first it is very important to identify the anterior, posterior, medial, and lateral aspect of that extremity. To identify them correctly, you need to imagine the body in the anatomical position. So this right here is the anterior aspect, and we have the patella anteriorly. The back of the lower extremity is the posterior aspect. Moving to the medial aspect, which is this entire side right here, the big toe will guide us toward the medial aspect because it is medially in the anatomical position. We also have the medial malleolus right here. Whereas this is the lateral aspect of the lower extremity, and the little toe will guide us toward the lateral aspect because it is lateral in the anatomical position. Also, we have the lateral malleolus right here. Starting with the first muscle, which is the iliacus muscle right here that is attached to the ilium bone. We can see part of the head of the femur. The femur is the bone in the thigh. This right here is the pelvis. This is the ilium bone. The iliacus is attached to the ilium bone. Right here, this is the ilium bone. So we find the iliacus here. Moving to the muscles on the medial aspect of the thigh. First, right here, we have this muscle that runs diagonally. This is the sartorius muscle. Second, we have this muscle that forms a V shape with the sartorius muscle. This muscle is the gracilis muscle. So this is the gracilis muscle. Between the gracilis muscle and the sartorius muscle, we have the adductor longus muscle. This muscle on the medial aspect of the thigh is the vastus medialis muscle. Anteriorly, right here, we can see part of the rectus femoris muscle. So to repeat the muscles one more time, this is the iliacus muscle, this is the sartorius muscle, the adductor longus muscle, gracilis muscle, vastus medialis muscle, rectus femoris muscle. Moving to the lateral aspect of the thigh, we can see the vastus lateralis muscle. Also, we can see part of it right here. This is the vastus lateralis muscle. Where's the vastus intermedius muscle? This right here under the rectus femoris muscle, we have the vastus intermedius muscle. The rectus femoris with the vastus lateralis, the vastus intermedius, and the vastus medialis, the four of them, they form the quadriceps femoris muscle. Quadri means four, ceps, four heads. This right here is the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. On the lateral aspect also, we can see the tensor fascia lata muscle right here. And this part is the iliotibial tract. The iliotibial tract is located above the vastus lateralis muscle right here. Moving to the back of the lower extremity. This right here is the posterior aspect of the lower extremity in the anatomical position. We can see the calcaneus bone, which is the heel bone right here. This is the lateral aspect of the lower extremity in the anatomical position, which is toward the little toe right here. And this is the medial aspect of the lower extremity, which is toward the big toe right here. We also can see the popliteal region on the back of the lower extremity. Let's start with the muscles on the posterior aspect of the thigh. First, I'll go over the superficial muscles, then we'll move to the deeper muscles. Right here we have the gluteus maximus muscle. On the posterior aspect, we can see two muscles right here. One muscle that runs lateral. This is the biceps femoris muscle. The other muscle that runs medially. This is the semitendinosus muscle. Right under the semitendinosus muscle, we can see part of the semimembranosus muscle. Right here, we have the adductor magnus muscle. We can also see part of the gracilis muscle, which runs medially. So this is the gluteus maximus muscle. Let's take it away to see the muscles underneath it. So again, this is the gluteus maximus muscle. We took it away, we can see the gluteus medius muscle, the piriformis muscle, obturator internus muscle, quadratus femoris muscle. We can also see right here the tensor fascia lata muscle, the iliotibial tract muscle, the biceps femoris muscle with its long and short head, along with the semitendinosus muscle and semimembranosus muscle, they form the hamstring muscles. The name hamstring comes from the butcher's practice of using the tendon of these muscles to hang hams for smoking. So let's go over the muscles on the thigh. First, locate the big toe. That is the big toe. Then this is the medial aspect of the lower extremity. This is the patella. Then this is the anterior aspect of the lower extremity. And this is the little toe. So this is the lateral aspect of the lower extremity. And the back is the posterior aspect. Starting with the first muscle on the ilium, right here we have the iliacus muscle. The muscle that runs diagonally is the sartorius muscle right here. This muscle is the rectus femoris muscle. This muscle is the vastus medialis muscle. This is the vastus lateralis muscle. Right here we have the iliotibial tract. This is the tensor fascia lata muscle. Right under the rectus femoris muscle, we have the vastus intermedius muscle. These four muscles, they will form the quadriceps femoris muscle, and this is the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. That is the patella, and this is the patellar ligament. Moving medially, this is the sartorius muscle right here. That is the vastus medialis muscle. This is the adductor longus muscle. This is the gracilis muscle, which forms a V shape with the sartorius muscle. Right here we can see the gracilis muscle, and this is the adductor magnus muscle. On this side we can see part of the semimembranosus muscle. This muscle right here is the gluteus maximus muscle. This is the gracilis muscle, adductor magnus muscle. That is the semitendinosus muscle. Underneath it we can see the semimembranosus muscle. And this is the biceps femoris muscle. That is the long head of the biceps femoris muscle. This is the gluteus maximus muscle. This is the short head of the biceps femoris muscle. And here we can see part of the vastus lateralis muscle. This is the iliotibial tract. This is the tensor fascia lata muscle. Right under the gluteus maximus muscle, we have the gluteus medius muscle. This is the piriformis muscle. That is the obturator internus muscle. And this is the quadratus femoris muscle. We can still see the biceps femoris right here. And this is the semitendinosus muscle.